It was the kind of mystery that defied logic, the kind that made even seasoned detectives question reality. A door locked from the inside, a window sealed shut, and a man found dead in a room no one could have entered or escaped. It happened the autumn of 2011, inside a quiet guest house just outside of Ashbourne, Virginia. The victim, Dr. Samuel Crane, was a respected psychologist known for his calm, analytical mind. He was found seated at his desk, a single gunshot wound to the chest. The weapon lay on the floor beside him. At first glance, it looked like suicide, until someone noticed the gun had no fingerprints. And when the coroner examined the scene, he said something that froze the entire room. If he did this himself, how did he lock the door from the outside? The answer, 13 years later, remains one of the most baffling puzzles in modern investigation. This is the story of the mystery of the locked room, still unsolved. Dr. Samuel Crane was 56 years old, quiet, meticulous, and devoted to his patients. He ran a small private practice specializing in trauma therapy. Everyone described him as calm under pressure, almost too calm. He lived alone in a converted Victorian guest house he'd inherited from his parents. It was a place full of old furniture, tall bookshelves, and floors that creaked with memory. His office, the room where he was found, had one entrance and a single narrow window facing a high stone wall. Detective Laura Keene was the lead investigator on the case, methodical, patient, and known for her precision. She arrived just after 8 in the morning, rain dripping from her umbrella, the sound of thunder still echoing across the courtyard. Inside, officers were standing over the locked door. The key was still inside the room. The window was sealed from the inside. There were no vents large enough for passage, no secret panels or crawl spaces. So either he did this himself, Keene said quietly, or someone found a way to walk through walls. At first, every clue seemed to point to suicide. There were no signs of struggle. The single gunshot wound was clean through the chest at close range. But when the forensics report came in, it told a very different story. There was no gunpowder residue on his hands. There were no fingerprints on the weapon, and the bullet's trajectory came from a slight downward angle, as if someone taller had been standing over him. Someone shot him, Keene realized, then locked the door behind them. But how? Her team tested every theory. Could someone have locked the door using a string through the keyhole? No. Could they have escaped through the window? Impossible. Could there have been a hidden passageway? The architecture ruled it out completely. Every lead hit a dead end. Then, something strange appeared in the guest logbook at the front desk. One name stood out, M. Glass. No one remembered meeting him. There was no record of payment, no entry on the security footage. Just a neat signature, M. Glass, room 4. There was no room 4. A handwriting analyst later confirmed that the signature matched Dr. Crane's own handwriting. He had signed it under a false name. But why? As Keene dug deeper, she discovered that Crane's life wasn't as serene as it looked. In the months before his death, several of his patients had filed complaints accusing him of manipulation and emotional coercion. One of them, a young woman named Eva Morton, had vanished 6 months earlier. Her final voicemail to a friend mentioned Dr. Crane. "He's not who you think he is," she'd said. "He knows things about me no one should." When Keene replayed that voicemail, she noticed something faint in the background, a slow, rhythmic ticking. It wasn't a clock. It was the exact sound of the antique metronome found on Crane's desk. "She was in this room," Keene whispered. In Crane's desk, investigators found dozens of microcassettes. Therapy sessions recorded without consent, each labeled by date and name. Most were ordinary, but one, marked only Yim, sent chills through the team. A trembling female voice said, "You said you'd help me, but I don't feel safe anymore." Crane's voice replied, calm and confident, "You're safe here, Eva. You just need to let go." The recording ended abruptly, mid-sentence. When audio specialists examined it, they detected the faint hum of a streetlight in the background, which meant it had been recorded at night, not during his office hours. So what was she doing there after hours? A neighbor soon came forward. She said she'd seen a tall man in a dark coat leaving the guest house around midnight, 2 days before Crane was found dead. He wasn't Crane. This man was younger, she said, and he was angry. No footprints, no tire tracks, no video evidence. But inside the side entrance, forensics recovered a single partial thumbprint. It didn't match Crane. It didn't match any of his staff. It didn't match Eva. The print was so clean it felt deliberate, almost like a message. On Crane's desk, they found one more thing, a note. For words written in black ink. I finally understand now. The door mechanism itself became the next focus. The antique lock used a single brass key. No bolt, no electronic system. The only way to lock it from the outside was with the key, which was found inside the room. Detectives recreated every possible trick. The string through the keyhole, a duplicate key, hidden openings. None worked. Then a forensic engineer made a discovery. The latch on the door had been filed down, just enough to allow the door to click shut from the outside, giving the illusion it had been locked from within. It was brilliant, simple, and terrifying. Someone could have left, pushed the door closed, and walked away, leaving a locked room behind. But there was still one problem. The only fingerprints on the latch belonged to Dr. Crane. When logic failed, imagination filled the void. Soon, locals began calling it the ghost room. Some swore the house was haunted. Others said Crane had been obsessed with proving the afterlife. His journals hinted at an obsession with consciousness after death. One entry read, "Tonight, the veil will lift. I must open the door from the other side." Was it metaphorical or literal? Months passed. The case went cold. The guest house was sold to new owners. During renovation, workers discovered something hidden under the floorboards. A small brass object wrapped in cloth. A second key, identical to the first. The key reignited the case. Forensics confirmed it had been filed down by the same metal tool that altered the latch. If there were two keys, someone else had been inside that room. Detective Keene reopened the investigation. She revisited the file of Eva Morton, the missing patient. Her emergency contact listed a brother, Michael Morton, a man who had vanished around the same time as his sister. The partial thumbprint from the door matched his. It all started to fit. Michael must have confronted Crane about Eva's disappearance. A fight, a shot, panic. He modified the latch, locked the door, and fled. It explained almost everything. Almost. When the gun was re-examined, investigators found trace DNA, not just Crane's, not just Michael's, but Eva's. Eva, who had been missing for over a year. No body, no confirmed sighting, no closure. And Michael Morton disappeared again before police could question him. Years later, the house still stands. Repainted, renovated, but forever scarred. Tourists visit it now, calling it the Locked Room House. Some say if you stand outside that office at night, you can hear faint tapping, 3 soft beats, like a metronome keeping time. Detective Keene, now retired, keeps one thing from the case on her shelf, the second brass key. Sometimes she turns it over in her hand and whispers to herself, "Who are you really trying to free, Dr. Crane?" The mystery of the locked room remains unsolved. But one thing is certain, whatever happened that night wasn't just about death. It was about obsession, and the lengths one man, or perhaps two, would go to lock away the truth forever. This was Trace Crime Files. Subscribe for more stories where truth is stranger than fiction, and justice is never as simple as it seems.